What if the first murder in history wasn't just about jealousy, but a cosmic clash of justice, sin, and free will? And what if the blood spilled on that day whispered secrets that still echo in our world today? This is the untold story of Cain and Abel, a tale that changed humanity forever. When we think about the first family, we imagine harmony, a fresh start for humanity just outside the gates of Eden. But what unfolded between two brothers, Cain and Abel, was a tragedy so profound it reshaped the destiny of mankind. This wasn't just about one brother killing another. It was about the battle within the human heart, the pull between good and evil, love and envy, devotion and defiance. Stay with me as we uncover the hidden layers of this chilling story, because the truth might surprise you. The story begins where paradise ends. Adam and Eve, having tasted the forbidden fruit, were banished from Eden, a lush garden that once provided everything they needed. Now, they lived in a harsh and unforgiving world where survival meant toil and sweat. Into this world, their first two sons were born. Cain, the eldest, followed in his father's footsteps, working the ground. His hands were calloused from plowing the cursed soil, pulling food from the earth by sheer force of will. Abel, on the other hand, was drawn to shepherding. He cared for his flocks with tenderness, guiding them to pasture and protecting them from danger. Though they shared the same parents, the brothers couldn't have been more different. Cain was strong, determined, and independent, a man of the earth. Abel was quiet, gentle, and deeply spiritual, a man of the heart. Their personalities set the stage for a rivalry that would end in tragedy. But the spark that lit the fire wasn't about personality. It was about worship. Both brothers sought to honor God with an offering. Cain brought fruits from his harvest, while Abel offered the firstborn of his flock, along with the fattest portions. God accepted Abel's offering, but rejected Cain's. At first glance, this seems unfair. Why would God favor one over the other? Was it about the offering itself, or was there something deeper at play? Let's dig into this moment. Cain's offering was the fruit of the ground, but there's no mention of it being the first fruits or the best of his harvest. Abel's offering, however, is described in great detail, the firstborn and the finest portions. This distinction might seem small, but it reveals a profound truth. Abel gave God his best, a sign of reverence and trust. Cain, it seems, gave out of obligation, not devotion. But there's more. The Bible doesn't just focus on what they brought, it highlights their hearts. Abel's sacrifice reflected a pure and faithful spirit, while Cain's offering revealed pride and resentment. God's rejection wasn't about the gift itself, it was about the attitude behind it. And instead of humbling himself, Cain let his anger fester. God saw Cain's struggle and spoke to him directly, offering both a warning and a way out. Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But then came a chilling warning. Sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. This verse is powerful. It paints sin as a predator, a wild beast waiting to pounce. But God wasn't condemning Cain. He was giving him a choice. Cain could master his anger or be mastered by it. What would he choose? Cain couldn't let go of his anger. He felt humiliated, rejected, not just by God, but by his own brother's success. Jealousy turned into hatred, and hatred into a plan. One day, Cain approached Abel. "Let's go out to the field," he said. The words seemed ordinary, but behind them lurked something sinister. Out in the open, away from witnesses, Cain attacked his brother. The Bible doesn't describe the act in detail, but imagine the scene. Abel, unsuspecting and trusting, taken by surprise. The first murder in human history was brutal, raw, and deeply personal. Brother against brother, love twisted into violence. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. After the deed was done, God confronted Cain. "Where is your brother Abel?" he asked. This wasn't a question of ignorance. God knew exactly what had happened. It was a chance for Cain to confess, to repent. Cain's reply is one of the most chilling lines in the Bible. "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" The defiance, the lack of remorse. It's as if Cain had not only killed his brother, but severed his connection to humanity itself. God's response was swift and just. "Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground," he said. This phrase is fascinating. What does it mean for blood to cry out? Some believe it's a metaphor for justice, while others see it as a sign that Abel's death had cosmic consequences. In a world newly created, the first blood spilled was a stain that couldn't be erased. God cursed Cain, condemning him to a life of wandering. The ground that had once yielded crops would no longer obey him. Yet even in his judgment, God showed mercy. He placed a mark on Cain, a sign that no one would kill him, even as he bore the weight of his guilt. Cain's punishment wasn't just about wandering, it was about living with the knowledge of what he had done. He became a symbol of what happens when we let sin take over our lives. The story of Cain and Abel is often seen as simple. One good brother, one bad brother. But it's far more complex. Abel's life, though cut short, became a testament to faith and devotion. Cain's life, though marred by sin, became a warning, a mirror reflecting the choices we all face. Did you know that some ancient traditions suggest Abel's death marked the first time Adam and Eve experienced loss? They had seen animals die, but never a human. The grief of losing a child, especially in such a violent way, must have been unimaginable. And what about Cain? He went on to build a city and have descendants. His legacy wasn't erased, but it carried the weight of his actions. Some believe that Cain's wandering represents humanity's constant struggle with guilt and redemption. At its core, the story of Cain and Abel is about choices. God gave Cain a chance to overcome sin, but he chose violence instead. Abel, though he died young, became a symbol of righteousness. Their story asks us the same question: will we choose humility and faith, or let pride and anger control us? The first murder in history wasn't just a crime, it was a turning point. It revealed the power of free will, the consequences of sin, and the depth of God's mercy. Even in judgment, God showed compassion, marking Cain not for vengeance, but for protection. Cain and Abel's story isn't just about two brothers, it's about all of us. It's a reminder of the choices we face every day and the impact those choices have, not just on ourselves, but on the world around us. But Cain's story doesn't end here, because his descendants would live on to witness another judgment. A judgment that came, people may ask, what happens when humanity's wickedness grows so vast that it threatens the entire world? The answer is not in whispers, but in waves. Curious? The story of Noah's Ark holds the answers. It's waiting for you on our next video, here in
The Whispers of the Bible.